This is attorney Nick Thompson. One of the questions that often asked is, how do I get an affordable Chapter 13 plan payment? Well, there are a lot of things that you look at when you're doing a Chapter 13. There are three things that drive the amount of your payment. First, if you have a high income, that will increase your payment because you as a debtor have an obligation to pay all that you can afford to pay. What happens quite commonly is you may have a high income, but you forget to add commonly forgotten expenses. You may have high medical expenses. You may have $800 going out for diabetes medication. You may have a newborn and you've got $200 a week in daycare expenses while you go to work. If you get these expenses, that drive up that payment. The other thing that can cause a high Chapter 13 payment is that maybe your plan payment isn't income based. It may be based largely upon how much assets you have. A Chapter 13 has to pay back as much as a Chapter 7 bankruptcy does. If you've got a house that's paid for and you're only allowed to keep $50,000 of equity and you've got a $150,000 house, now you have a Chapter 13 that has to pay back $100,000. Well, go back and look at that house. Is it really worth 150? Is that what it would bring if the trustee had to sell it? If he had to sell it, well, what are the fees that he has to pay? The real estate agent fees. How much do the creditors really get back? If you look at what the house would actually bring at a foreclosure sale or a trustee sale, it may have been a $150,000 house, but at an auction, that house may only be worth 110. Maybe that you owe 60,000 instead of 100,000. The third thing that you have to worry about is, what are the kind of debts I've got to pay back? If you have secured and priority debts, that's going to increase your plan payment. If you're a year behind in mortgage payments, those payments have to be caught up. If you have an income tax debt that's less than 3 years old, that income tax debt has to be paid back during that 5-year period of time. Well, if you wait just a little while, it may be that that income tax debt doesn't have to be paid back. It may slide from being a 3-year priority debt into being a more than 3-year non-priority unsecured debt that doesn't have to be paid back in full and that can be paid back 10 cents on the dollar. There are all these things that you have to think of and look at, including the overlooked expenses that people forget about all the time. It takes an attorney that knows what he's doing in order to ensure that that payment is low enough so that you can afford it during that entire period of time. We at our office look at these payments all the time. We try to ensure that the Chapter 13 plan is affordable so that you can last that 5 years, that you haven't forgotten to get a car before you file Chapter 13 so that you've got a way to get back and forth to work. And that car can also drive down the amount that you have to pay back so that your plan is actually affordable. Here at our office, we make sure that these Chapter 13s are planned, not that you just file it. It takes an experienced attorney to do that. Please call our office. We're happy to sit down and plan your Chapter 13, and we're happy to make it affordable. We give out free appointments to make sure that that is what you get. Thank you.